was going to say a little more. Let me just ask, would anybody else like to say a few words about net neutrality? Because there is room for people to speak later, but while you're thinking about that, I want to say a little more because people have been asking, why did this not come to the vote? We actually did find out some things about why this did not come for a vote. So let me speak up about that. So I talked to a number of people. I talked to Speaker Mattiello's allies. I didn't speak to him directly, although I did appeal to his office to let this come to a vote, as did many others. But what I heard was, first of all, they claimed that passing net neutrality would make Rhode Island an outlier. Which is not true at all. The trend is very much towards passing net neutrality laws. I've already mentioned a number of the states that have passed net neutrality laws, and a total of 8 different states have passed either a law or an executive order on net neutrality. That's all this year. It just started this year. So even though this year isn't half over yet, we have a large number of states signing on to net neutrality. So it's not true that Rhode Island is an outlier, but the only reason they gave that would actually make a difference, they couldn't speak of any advantage that would be brought to the state by not passing net neutrality. They couldn't speak of any disadvantage that would be brought by passing net neutrality. The only thing they could say that even arguably made a difference was they said that if we passed a net neutrality law, it would send an unwelcoming signal to business about locating in Rhode Island. That was the one thing that they even claimed was a drawback of passing it, that it would send an unwelcoming signal to business about locating in Rhode Island. This is from one of the Speaker's allies, representing the Speaker, speaking on this. But let me just say, the first thing to understand about net neutrality, one of the first things to understand about it, why it's so popular, is it actually helps Rhode Island business. There's hardly a business in Rhode Island that would not be helped by net neutrality. Net neutrality is the principle that when somebody gives you, some company provides you access to the internet, when you get internet service from your cable company or you get internet through your phone, the cable company or phone company cannot discriminate. They can't make it harder for you to access some websites than others. They can't make some websites load faster and others slower. So it's like when you get paid to get the internet, you should get the whole internet with no discrimination. That's what net neutrality stands for. And the reason why the corporate lobbyists are pushed from these big cable companies and phone companies all located out of state, but the reason why they're all pushing against net neutrality is they think if the net neutrality goes, they can hit us up for extra charges. They can say to a Rhode Island business, if you don't pay us extra, we are going to let your competitors' websites load faster when our customers try to connect to your competitors' websites, and your website will load slower. So net neutrality says that, so if there's no net neutrality, Verizon, Cox, all the phone companies and cable companies are going to hit us up for extra charges. They're going to hit Rhode Island businesses up with extra charges and say, if you don't pay, we're going to provide our customers with faster services to your competitors. So it's an extra charge on Rhode Island businesses just because a few big companies have near monopoly control over internet access. Okay, so not having net neutrality protections is good for Verizon and Cox and a few other out-of-state companies. It's bad for the Rhode Island companies that are going to be hit up for these extra charges if we don't have net neutrality. So when they say it sends the wrong signal to out-of-state businesses about locating here, well, it's not actually good for good for businesses here. But when they say it sends the wrong signal to out-of-state businesses about locating here, what I think they mean is if we pass this one law to prevent Verizon and Cox from abusing their customers and abusing Rhode Island businesses, other corporations are going to wonder, is Rhode Island going to crack down on their abuses too? So when they say it sends the wrong signal to businesses about locating here, what it really, I think all that could really mean is that it's bad for the big companies that have high-powered lobbyists, and they don't want to pass any laws against big companies' abuses, even the worst ones, because if they do, then other companies would get worried that we'd pass a law too. So that's what Speaker Mattiello and his allies call being pro-business. It's not really pro-business. It actually hurts Rhode Island business. It doesn't help ethical businesses. It just helps the monopoly companies like Verizon and Cox that want to overcharge Rhode Island businesses and Rhode Island consumers. And if we don't have net neutrality, then these companies can start selling the less wealthy Rhode Islanders inadequate internet service. They can sell bad service plans to people who can't afford a good service plan. They'll sell bad service plans where you have trouble reaching most of the internet. Maybe you'll be able to reach Facebook and Fox News and a few other sites easily, but you won't be able to get access to most websites because they'll sell you a plan that discriminates against some websites and makes only part of the internet easy to reach. So if they start selling these inadequate service plans that discriminate to less wealthy Rhode Islanders, that's just going to keep a lot of people ignorant. It's going to mean that a lot of people can't find out a lot of what's going on because they're being steered to the websites that pay extra for adequate internet access. So this is, we really won't stand for this. This is not adequate. We cannot allow a few companies like Verizon and Cox to discriminate, to decide which sites are easy to reach and which sites are not easy to reach. We can't allow them to just sell internet plans that will mean that people will think they can only reach part of the internet, and will allow they can't sell inadequate plans that get people used to seeing only a small part of the internet and not being able to access a lot of the information that's out there. So we are here because the internet has been a great force for good. Until now, the internet has been open to everyone with no discrimination. If companies like Verizon and Cox are allowed to start doing this discrimination, then sooner or later we will see a cut-up, broken-up internet where people have trouble getting the information they need unless it's from some big corporation, and that has to stop. So we will be back. We will be passing net neutrality, if not this year, the next year or some other year. But we are going to keep pushing. All right, anybody else want to speak?